Happy New Year, everyone. This is May Vu with Hot Life, Hot Love Google Hangout. I'm glad to be back. Had a good rest for the last couple of weeks. And today, it's a new year's new format and new collaborator. So I want to introduce with you my dear friend Kelly Wolf, and she's also a new member of my team, Mayvu Coach, to provide and bring Hot Life and Hot Love out to our community. Hi, Kelly.
Good afternoon. Hi.
Welcome. And so I'm going to introduce you in a minute, and then we'll dive into the topic today. So what we want to do is each hangout for at least for the next 2 months, we are going to handle a specific topic, and all of these topics is designed to help you let more love in. So it's a new year, and everyone always wants to make new resolutions, and they want to bring in new love, new career, new possibilities, and then there are things that get in the way, like hurt and pain and woundedness and all that stuff that has us pull back and kind of go, oh, I don't know. And that's actually what gets in the way of having life really hot, having your love really hot. So that's the quest. My quest is to keep bringing you solutions and answers to what does it take to create a really hot relationship in your life, and then what does it take to keep it hot, and not only just love and romance, but also career and what we do and who we are in the world. So that's what Hot Life and Hot Love Google Hangout is all about. So off we go. So today's topic is about healing and forgiveness. And I'm bringing in Kelly, since Kelly has amazing power with her intuitions on how people tap into a much deeper wisdom in their body, especially in their toes and feet. So anyway, you'll hear more about her work in the future, but I'm adding her component into my offerings out there with my clients. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Okay, so we're here talking about forgiveness, and let's just start with us, like what do we know, what's our own personal experiences to forgiveness. So how about you? Do you have anything that comes up that you're still hanging on to for dear life and all these years, and that it's so hard for you to like let go and forgive?
The thing that rings for me is, our family shapes us as we're small and growing up. And I remember meeting May many years ago and realizing that she truly knew how to forgive without holding a grudge or harboring that I forgave, I'm done, and putting it in the background, pushing it down. That you truly gave from your heart clearance, just cleared it out and kept going. And that's a huge component of forgiveness, because so many times our brain wants to go, okay, I'm done with that, I forgive, let's push it aside, and I'm ready, I forgave, I'm ready for the next step. And it's a process. It's not an act that you do and you're done with it. It's a process that we go through.
Wow, thank you. I didn't know that about myself. So I'm like, wow. So one other thing too is that Kelly is my BFF. So she and I has been through the motherhood journey for the last 14 years now. So anyway, we get to see each other, and we get to tell each other's dirty laundry in public now. I've enrolled her into doing this with me, so it's like, look out. And well, thank you for that. Yeah, when I think about forgiveness, I a lot of my clients, I work with divorced mom. Well, you're now working with divorced mom too. Divorced moms who are dating again, and one of the things that's really hard to date again and to be divorced is that there's a lot of wounding, a lot of pain, a lot of hurt from the previous relationship, from what you didn't get from your ex-husband, and probably from your dad, and maybe even from past lifetimes, right? So anyway, it kind of shows up, and then what I see in my clients when they first come to me is that they so want, and they work so hard to try to create new love for themselves, and then but they're like one of those, those cactus flower or something like that, where if the wind, they look open, but the slight breeze blow by, they just kind of like close up like that, right? And, and it's like, whoa, what happened there? And there's all these issues of trust, and they make up all these stories about how that man is not good enough, and how he's weird and scared, and all these things. But really underneath it is that they've been hanging on to so much hurt from the past. They probably don't even remember all the things that add up to it, and then they get really stuck. And lots of divorced moms, has been divorced for 12 years, 15 years, and not date again. So that's why I wanted to start the year with this topic, forgiveness, so that we could start to pry that thing apart, open our heart back up, and let it go. Oh, I'm starting to want to sing that song, Let It Go, Let It Go. Anyway, so we were talking about forgiveness yesterday in the car and in preparing for this, and it's complex, right? It's something that we all want, but yet it's so complex to do. Why is it so hard to do? When we try to forgive, why does it bring up so much hurt instead of forgiveness?
Well, I think because it's that same core wound that has been recreated story over story over story, and that is the whole process. So that's the process that builds us up and puts that callus over our heart. That part of keeps us forgiving, because we're so interested in getting to the end result that we don't take time to unwind that process.
Yeah, and I was thinking about, how, can I tell you a secret publicly already? It's just like 5 minutes into the show already.
Yeah, go ahead. It's all
it's
out
so
there.
Much. Okay, I have to say,
it's all going to be out there.
It's a lot easier to see someone else's stuff than your own, right? So since I'm Kelly's best friend, I can see her stuff, right? And I tell you, she has so much pain. You have so much pain around your mom and your and her husband, your stepdad, and it's like, almost everything that happens in a day would bring out this old wound for you.
Absolutely.
And I know you've been working on forgiving them a lot, and every time I ask you about, what about letting that go and forgiving, you're like, yeah, I already forgive that, but, so it's like, speak to that, baby. Like, why is that so hard for you to let that go, to like really forgive and erase all that?
Because it puts me in such a vulnerable spot. You're so vulnerable, you're raw, and you're leaving yourself open to rebuild and let that love in. But to get to that point where you're so vulnerable is hard. And for me, my past experience, every time I've let myself get to that vulnerable point with them, it's been filled up with the result that I didn't want.
So, like, you would try to go toward them with the spirit of forgiveness, and then they would say something or do something that just, like, re-trigger that pain again.
Yeah, like, oh, let's throw the salt in there.
She's wide open. Let's pour some salt in.
And then you're like, wow, the snail flailing on the sidewalk.
Okay, so what you're... That is quite an image. So what you're talking about is like you're still in relationship with them, and so you have to forgive so that you can come back and be in relationship with them. And every time in the past you tried, they would do something you know, inevitably, and then it will trigger that thing again, and it's so painful. And then the more that triggers, the thicker the callus gets,
Absolutely.
and then the cynicism, and then the eye rolling, and then there's just no way out of this one, right?
Sure, yeah.
And I also noticed too. Can I still pick on this scab?
Go ahead.
And I also noticed too that now that you're living in California and far away from them, it's still coming up for you. Like you still bring that up. So why the need to bring up that hurt?
You know, it's interesting because as you were talking about that, I think what is brought up is what you're calling out in me. I see in so many couples that are going through divorce. And so it's triggered, and I myself am separated. So, you know, my body and my mind is just processing all of that at a rapid pace. And so it's interesting because I can see it in the divorced moms that we work with, and I can see it in friends that have been divorced. And it's the same core story, just a different dynamic.
Yeah. Okay, my turn. I can share the picking at this, right?
Come on, bring it on, baby.
Yeah, I know, right? Because I was all like, I'm over all that stuff. Well, I've been divorced 8 years now, something like that. Separated and signed paper a couple years ago. But anyway, so. And I've always had this dream of having big family dinner where, you know, my ex bring his girlfriend and I bring my boyfriend, and then we have dinner with you guys and your kids and my kid, and it's all a big happy family. And so we did. We just had that a couple days ago, actually. And so my ex brought his girlfriend, which is whoa, you know, because he usually he doesn't want to have anything to do with us. But we were like, oh yeah, he's coming, right? And I'm like, oh great. And you can see the thing that comes out, you know, my porcupine things come out, and like there's that deep wound of like what I didn't get enough from that relationship, and then to see him with his new girlfriend, you know, which I like, by the way, and I like him too, and I love my, you know, I mean I am at peace with it as much as I can, but I mean I tell you, I look at them and there's just like these natural sticks comes out of my head, and I don't know why, and I'm like, what is all that stuff around? You know, I don't need any of that stuff. I'm really happy in my new relationship. We've moved on. We're at peace with each other. But some reason, you know, being in the same room, I still kind of go like doing a little comparison, a little. So I think there's a human condition of like, maybe we're just addicted to pain. We're addicted to hurting ourselves. You know, like why do we need to pull that back up and stab ourselves with it?
Well, and we halt the process voluntarily too. We don't really realize it, but we get to that point. And a great observation that happened Sunday was I noticed when you got to that point, you were managing your porcupine quills, and to a certain sense, you went in your cave. You got really quiet, and you went in your cave.
And I went into my device. I was very polite.
And when we go in our cave, we halt the process because nobody else knows what we're thinking. They don't know what we're thinking. We're not practicing that interaction. That we're not retraining our brain that we've forgiven and that we are on the path to forgiveness. So it stops us where we're at.
Well, and there's something here too, though, is that I think it's the process of forgiveness is actually really slow. It's got many layers, and I think there's an expectation that we should forgive. Oh, then it's like a shower. Whew, I'm clean now. You know, it's like it's not.
Right.
It's because when we are hurt, it hits at a very deep core level, like all of our core human needs, you know, like the sense of belonging, the sense of worthy of love, and the sense of, you know, abandonment, all that stuff is right in there. And so when we're hurt, that's what's really hurt in there, right? And so to forgive means to heal all that stuff and to grow and to mature and all that. So it takes time and it takes layers. And so for me, I don't think my process is halted from the dinner a couple of days ago, but I actually feel like the fact that I can talk about it, that I can laugh about the fact that I had porcupines, and I didn't defend myself when you said, "Oh, I see your porcupine needle," and so that I just wanted to like name that so that you, when you're watching this and thinking about forgiveness, you need to be looking at millimeters changes, incremental changes of like, oh, before I couldn't even be in the same room with him, but now I can. And not only can I be in the same room with him, but bring his girlfriend in, and that we can talk and laugh and blah, blah, blah. And that, sometimes I needed to check out. That's okay. But, so like those are like the incremental celebration that is part of the forgiveness process that I don't think is talked about enough,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, what was the other thing that we talked about the complexity of forgiveness where, loss of identity, right? Because when you hate something or are pissed at something, you are identifying with it, identifying yourself with it in certain ways. You see yourself in a certain way. He did this to me, right?
Yeah.
But if you forgive and let that go, then you can't tell that story anymore. Then who are you without that story? So there's a whole loss of identification here.
Or the thought that you're making it okay, or you're approving of what you feel was done to you, or whatever the situation was. I've heard people say, well, I don't agree with that, so I can't forgive that. Forgiveness doesn't mean you agree or you're condoning it. It means you're accepting things the way they are and integrating it and moving.
That's so hard. I mean, like, I hear you and I'm like, oh yeah, that's so hard to make that distinction.
Yes.
To say that again.
Okay, so when you're forgiving, it doesn't mean that you are saying, like if you step on my foot and say I'm sorry, it doesn't mean I'm saying
that it's okay
to step on my foot. Mm-hmm. It means that, okay, I'm not going to carry that anymore. It doesn't meant for me to carry anymore. Yeah. And that is so freeing in itself.
Right.
You're choosing not to be responsible for that anymore.
Yeah, and also the interpretation of that. So let's play with that stepping on the foot thing some more, right? So she stepped on my foot, and I could interpret that you're being mean to me. We were having an argument, and then you step on my foot. You're taking it out on me. Versus like that was purely an accident. But then again, there's no accident. So anyway. But my point, though, stay on track here. My point, though, is that it was an accident. It just happened, but it's the interpretation that I put on it that makes it even worse. It's kind of like you get hit by a knife, and then you take that knife and you turn it on yourself, and then stick it in even deeper by that interpretation of how it's done to me. And then I could carry on my victim story. And I have to say, I think there's a lot of, we are addicted to our victim story. We like to think that it happened to us. You made me mad. You hurt my feeling. You cheated on me. Okay, now I'm going far now, right? But really, they did what they did. It's not you. They did what they did, but we take it and make it about us. And then it's like, ooh, then we get to be the victim of that. Then we get to be moping and groaning forever sometimes, right? And you don't really have to do that.
Yeah. But then that goes back to loss of identity. If you let go of that victim story, who are you?
That's right.
But then you have that whole blank canvas to create and let more love in and create who you really want to be.
Yeah.
And how you really want to respond to things. You don't have to react to them based on that hurt anymore.
Oh, okay. So when I think about about forgiveness, I see three areas to forgive. One is need to forgive that person that did that to me. To me, I air quote. And then underneath that really is I need to forgive myself for whatever happened in that situation. And then I need to forgive like the whole situation. Like there's a circumstantial forgiveness in there. And I think there are three layers of forgiveness that we need to start looking at. And a lot of times I think once I start to forgive myself and whatever that judgment that I hold myself to on that one, then the rest is easy peasy.
Lots of lying like dominoes.
Like that
Like
domino.
dominoes,
Right.
baby.
Like dominoes.
Like dominoes,
So
baby.
so I'm gonna push this a little harder here, okay? Well, no, what I meant is I'm gonna push you a little harder.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
Oh God.
Round two.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby. Bring it up.
So, okay, so speaking of that, so forgiveness and loss of identities and all that stuff. So what would happen, Miss Kelly Wolf, if you just like completely forgive your mom and your stepdad and never ever hold them responsible for how you are today ever again?
God, I'd have so much more room.
Like when we sit down at dinner, you don't get to say, well, you know, when I was little and my stepdad used to do that to me. Like, done with that story.
Yep, done.
Oh my God, you wouldn't have anything left to say.
Oh, I'm an extrovert. I need.
I want to acknowledge something because you are really able to laugh at this, and to do this on the Google Hangout in public is really challenging. So I want to acknowledge your incremental and ginormous, healing that you've done in forgiving your past. And that you're such a great sport, so just jump on, and this is your first Google Hangout, and we're hanging your dirty underwear up there. Like, she wear an extra large. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Whatever.
she doesn't. I don't know what size she's wearing. I would just say that. But anyway, I'm just saying is that really tells me that you have done a tremendous job of forgiving your parents, and I really appreciate your honesty and playfulness with this. And because this is such a tough topic, I mean, again, so many people, they want the new love, they want to date, they want to let a new guy in, but they can't because they're so hurt by the past. And if you are so hurt by the past, we actually have a process to help you. And we're going to tell you this process right now. And if you're like all human being out there, you hear it, it makes sense, and then when you try to do it, you're going to take off in the wrong direction. So just as a warning.
It's that 1 degree off on the compass.
That's right, and then you end up on a different continent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's the process of forgiving. Ready? It's very simple. It's a journaling process. So take the time to sit down and write for 15 minutes a day. And the first step to forgiveness is to simply witness. That means witness what is happening for you. Like whatever thought you have, it's like if the thought is, oh, today I'm reminded again of how my mother failed me and how she picked, her husband over me, and that really, really hurt me, and blah, blah, blah. So we write all that stuff down. Don't edit it. Don't change it. Don't shoot yourself out of it. Don't go, oh, Kelly, you're 30-something now. You should stop thinking about that. Just write that down so that you really witness your process. Witness your pain one more time. All right? And when you witness yourself fully, then it has an organic change process where it just kind of morphs and then it creates a relief. Right, Kelly?
Yeah,
you've been doing
absolutely.
This. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Tell them a little bit about what it's been like for you in the last 30 days when you did this process.
The 30 days writing was huge. I was able to sit down and just write out everywhere I felt like I failed and I was angry at myself, at the world, at my spouse, everything. And it just allowed me to do an internal house clearing. And once It's like cleaning your garage. I mean, we say it over and over, but it truly is like cleaning your garage. Excuse me. And once you clean, you can actually see what you have. The tools that you have that you forgot about because they're so buried under all of the shit.
Yes, it is shit.
You know, I mean, and so you can see the tools that you have, and then you know, okay, I have that tool. I can call on that tool to help me bring in forgiveness and bring in.
Yeah. And part of the reason why it's so hard to forgive is because you don't have a structure to really witness and hear your pain story. We shoot ourselves, you know, oh, you shouldn't feel that way, and we shove ourselves into the corner, that part that gets hurt. So it's not helpful. Even though we think we're trying to help ourselves move forward, it doesn't. What you need to do actually is you need to pull it out, and you need to witness yourself, and you need to like have a witness. So have a friend, have a system that could witness you without trying to fix you, without talking you out of it, without, you know, doing anything to you. But just simply saying, I see you. I see that this is painful for you, and I love you. That's witnessing. But if someone said, oh, yeah, I know, I had that same story too, and, you know, this is what I did to get out of that, that's not witnessing. That's just fixing and shoving it aside, okay?
It's so powerful just to be witnessed, especially if you have not had that in a long time or you've never had that. It's very powerful just to have someone stand there.
Yep.
Because you feel like they have your back without fixing you.
And if you are doing it as a journal, you can share it with someone, or you can call up a friend to read it and say, hey, I just need you to witness me so that I can feel my pain, so I can then let it out and let it morph, let it become something else. Okay? And then at the end of your writing, you write a statement saying, for I'm grateful to be in touch with all these feelings. You're not grateful that that happened to you, but you're grateful to be in touch with these feelings. That's it. You're just letting the universe know that, you know, you see yourself, you feel your pain, and you're grateful, and then suddenly you will feel an amazing amount of relief inside you, and you're like, oh, I think that's not so bad anymore. I can actually move forward. I can actually take another step. Okay? So it's really simple, but it takes diligence and it takes commitment, and you got to do that for at least 30 days in a row. So when you do that, you will see tremendous change. Like miracles happen for you, and then the amount of new love will come in that will be so surprising to you, and you yourself will become love again. You know, right now when you're hurt, you're a walking wound. You know, like somebody touch you and you're like bruised, or you ooze out in blood, you know, and tears and all that stuff. But once you do this, you will just relax and become love again, which is what we all are, right?
Absolutely.
Do you want to tell them some of the miracles that you experienced in your...
The miracles were amazing. It started about 20 days into my writing that I actually noticed little miracles were happening from day one, because you're opening and cleaning. It's like a garage sale. All of a sudden it's a quarter, and then it's like $2, and you're like, whoa, I've got $50 in my pocket. So little miracles were happening, but it was about day 20 that I was stuck on the freeway. I knew I was not going to be able to get my kids on time, and they would be sitting in the cold after swim practice. And I just put out there to the universe and said, okay, I need help. And about 2 minutes later, my phone rang, and a friend said, I'm got your kids, I'm at the pool, I'm going to pick them up and take them home. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even have to get on the phone with that one. But
so wait, hang on a second. Let me pull out why that's a miracle, because it just sounds like a coincidence, right? But it's actually a humongous miracle for Kelly.
That is truly a humongous miracle.
Why is that a miracle?
Because I did not allow myself to be supported before, and I tried to do everything myself. And I was in a new city, not a new city, but I hadn't lived here for quite some time. And so I hadn't reconnected with a lot of people. And I wasn't asking for help. I was still kind of trying to muddle through by myself. And so it was really huge.
Yeah, and for the fact that it just appeared, and from the person that we least expected to
Yeah, it was the person
offer,
least likely.
right? And then for you to feel worthy enough, to feel comfortable enough to receive it, and that's part of the work. You know, when you are surrounded by hurt and woundedness, you cannot let love in. And so
No.
even if people try to help you or love you or take you out on a date, you'll be like, no, I don't think so. You know, don't do that.
Yes,
I just
absolutely.
I just witnessed a client just did that, you know, and I'm just like, wow, look at that, there you go, the proof's in the pudding. It's like, honey, love's coming, but you like shut that whole thing down. Okay, anyway,
Yeah.
so that's why this is so important, and this is why this is the first step. So you gotta work on forgiveness, and if you would like to have a process that will help you do that, contact me. I'm sorry I forgot to put my website up here, but my email address is may@mayvucoach.com. So it's MAI at MAIVU coach.com, mayvucoach.com. All right, and I will show you the process, and you can join with us. But we're going to have a group starting in a couple weeks, and we're going to do a round of 30 days to love and miracles, and it's going to be so powerful to help you undo this pattern. And if you're
going to rock those miracles.
I know, right? I've done this for over 100 people in the last couple of years, and it's been stunning what I've seen. I mean, from like manifesting thousands of dollars, like this one woman manifested $50,000 in 3 months because she focused and she created her miracles, and then tons of health improvement, love improvement, miracle, relationship shifting, and all that stuff that can happen in this process. And if you're local in the Bay Area, near the Pleasanton Tri-Valley area, we do have a live meetup that you can come and join us. It's called Let Love In. So look up on Meetup and Let Love In, and come to the January, what day is that we're having it?
January 24th, we're doing our Let Love In.
On Saturday, January 24th from 3 to 5, and we're actually
4 to 6.
Oh. No, it's from 3 to 5. So
no,
that
it's from 4 to 6.
Okay. Whatever, go to the page and you'll see. Well, I thought it was from 3 to 5, so that just in case they do the process and then they want to go out to dinner with each other, they can. So whatever.
Well.
Anyway, so it's Let Love In, and then we will actually do the process live at that event so that you can experience it. So join us. Either way, you can do it virtually by emailing me, or come in person on January 24th, Saturday from 3 to 6. Anyway, I look forward to next week and to bring you the next topic on the agenda. Oops, I lost my page. Hang on a second. Where is it? Okay. Oh, attachment. We're going to talk about attachment next week. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, have a wonderful week, everyone, and I look forward to undoing your attachment with you next week. Bye.
Bye.